Come here, son, nephew, young man. Let me holler at you. A few years ago, I went through a divorce, and some things didn't add up based on what my parents taught me as a child. They were married after a courtship, and so were my grandparents on my mother's side. And as a matter of fact, I do believe that was the case on my father's side, although that marriage, actually both of them dissolved into divorce eventually. But my parents stayed together until my father passed. That was normal to me. Going through that divorce and coming out on the back end and eventually re-entering the dating market after taking maybe 1 or 2 years being alone and being okay with it. Although I did have some female company during the time, but you can't revolve your life around women. But I tell you what, I did notice that some things, well, everything had changed on the dating market. It's not the 90s anymore. And these things have always been prevalent. We just didn't realize that society had evolved into, or devolved, depending on how you want to look at it, into what it is now. So you don't have women wanting to serve traditional roles anymore. I think it's as a result or as a reaction, but you be free to feel how you want to. But either way, now men don't want to serve traditional roles. So women don't want to cook and clean, if you consider that traditional. Men don't want to protect and provide. In the military, on a job, there's a chain of command, and everybody recognizes that. But we don't want to do that in our households anymore. Okay, fine. So a man has to pursue whatever it is he desires in life. So now you have a lot of men deciding that they're going to, and don't get me wrong, I had a lot of questions at one point too, but at one point I realized, okay, this is what it is. This is the scenario now. We're on the brink of World War III. We're in an economic depression in the United States. And I have to make sure my children come out a certain way. There's only so much time you can spend worrying about social conditions. First things first, you have to get your own house in order. So if you as a man are working towards your economics, your physical health, your mental health, I fail to see how much time or how men can have so much time to devote towards worrying about what women are doing. My anecdotal knowledge, take it for what it's worth, indicates to me that if you're I've seen, look, there's somebody for everybody. I have a gap in my teeth. I've had women tell me that they think it's cute. I have a salt and pepper beard. I've had women tell me that it's an appealing thing to them. I don't have hair anymore, and I've had plenty of women, some be even as bold as just to walk up to me and ask, can they rub my head? I've had women tell me that they don't like men who have thin waistlines. I've heard women say they don't like a man with too much muscle. In other words, there's somebody for everybody. Now, what happens with men a lot of the time, the women that want them, they don't want those women. Okay, well, you got two choices. You can sit there and complain about it, or if you think it's worth your time, you can try to build yourself up into the man that you think that women want. But again, okay, so you do all that so you can get more women, then what? I've seen many men have all the women and not have everything else together, and end up with a bunch of kids and a bunch of problems. I've seen men, and myself included, take voluntary stretches Look, after a divorce, you ain't got time to be worried about no doggone women. Now, as a side note, I had more women chasing me when I was post divorce and took some time to go to mom's house and because I let my ex wife have all the other stuff and rebuild. I had more women chasing me then than now, but now I'm chasing goals. And then even in the rebuilding stage, I was chasing goals. So, but once you get things past a certain level, at least for me, uh, and because I have a much more serious attitude about certain things, and I put some things in perspective, and I changed the course of my own path by redefining how I work and how that part of life goes. I don't really have time to play with anybody, male or female. But since I'm a heterosexual male, if we're talking about females who are not on the agenda that I'm looking for, I ain't got time for that. So if they want to do something else, because I prefer a quote unquote traditional woman. All right, so if a woman is not with that, okay, cool. I can't make her be on my program. If my program is not appealing to her, okay, but I still need to do what I need to do. A woman ain't going to help me retire. A woman's not going to help me get further in life. And to a degree, I guess it's not her job. Now, the Bible defines women as wives, as helpmeets, but I've encountered more women that don't want to be married than do. And even if they say they want to be married, their actions dictate otherwise. Well, okay, no problem. No problem. But I don't have time to sit there and whine and complain about it. I have other things to do that are way more important. Now, I'm 40, almost. And, you can pretty much say, okay, well, half of my life is over and I need to be putting things in place for my children, which I have been. But, I'm more intense and more focused about it. Worrying about a woman and complaining about a woman is not going to put assets in my portfolio and bring income and revenue into the fold. I see guys doing these, what do you call these deals? Pardon me for not being up on all of the latest internet lingo. I think they're called panel discussions. Every day, day in, day out, 30 minutes, an hour. I've seen these things go like you look at the timer in the bottom of the video, 8 hours talking about women. Well, if you got 8 hours to talk about women, you sure ain't got one. Ain't no doggone way your woman gonna sit there on the couch or do something else while you sitting there talking about women. Man, that's time you could be building a business. That's time you could be getting some type of certificate, some type of degree, doing some type of a service where you can get paid for it in the form of a service business. That's time that you could be resting, you could be working out, and you just sitting there whining and complaining about what these women won't do. I don't know everything about women, but I know they don't respect a man who whines and complains. They do respect men who make things happen. They do respect men who are go-getters. They respect men who can tell them no. They respect men who can ignore them, especially when it's in light of a goal because you have a purpose. But this whole, and I'm going to borrow Ty City at Uncut Underground. Y'all ought to go see his channel. That guy's hilarious. Do I agree with everything that goes on there, like the language? Let me give you my disclaimer because I'm a public school teacher. No, I don't agree with the foul language and whatever it is that's politically incorrect. Because I don't, I'm not trying to fight the cancel culture warriors and stuff like that. I'm just trying to uplift young men. But they have a term called SBE, or shame, blame, and explain. And that's what they use to label these guys who get on the internet talking about what women shouldn't do and what women should do, and telling these women that they're not going to get husbands. Man, these women don't want husbands anymore. And these guys on Ty City's show make an excellent point. These women make their own money. They have their own freedom in this current configuration of society. Now, what's coming? I ain't gonna lie, ladies. For what's coming down the pipeline, and if you're a Bible believer, it tells you, it spells it plain. But even if you're not, you better watch what's going on in Russia and all those things attached to it, because we are on the brink of World War III. I don't want to see it. I live here just like you in America, but we are overdue for a war on this soil. America has, bases everywhere else in the world. You can't expect those people to be happy about that. And for every place that America has invaded, people with ancestry leading to those places live here. Food for thought. It ain't gonna always be this nice. But okay, in the meantime, a woman can get up, work, and if you on the internet working 8 hours, talking for 8 hours, and she's getting up and going to a job, she's outpacing you economically. So why would she want that from you? She can go to the firing range and learn how to protect herself if she thinks that's sufficient for her. Okay. She can buy her own house. She can put her own clothes on her back. She don't need a man, technically. Now, would I tell my daughter that? No. But I have a different value system, and I'm okay with whatever other value system somebody else has, which brings me back to my point. You can't make anybody do anything. And for all I know, God forbid, but my daughter might decide she wants to be quote unquote strong and independent. All I can do is teach her right. Now, if I can't sit here and stress about my own daughter, all I can do is set the example, set her for success, and give her the best example that I can possibly give her of what a man should be and should do. Then that's it. That's all you can do. I won't be here forever. My son and my daughter are going to have to make their own decisions at one point. Now, if I realize that about a child who's going to grow up into an adult one day, what makes you think you can shame, blame, and explain a grown woman into seeing your philosophy of life? I do know this much. When you ask a woman what she wants for dinner, 2 hours later, you probably still ain't going to have an answer. But if a woman likes you and you tell her, hey, we're going to dinner at this time, at this place, and she actually wants to deal with you, she'll say, okay. And you probably got to get there a little bit early because they're all late. But then again, you know what? When a woman's late, she don't really value your time anyway. That's a different story for a different day. I don't claim to be some type of guru on women. I do claim to be productive. I do claim to be a solid man. And I do definitely not waste time trying to make a woman do what I want. Either they will or they won't. I got other stuff to do. As a matter of fact, I've been on this video for too long. And I'm about to go ahead and get off of here. In the meantime, I notice I do have, especially with the shorts, people watch but don't hit the like button. Hey, look, the like button is free. So is the dislike button. Leave a comment. I don't mind. You're always welcome to subscribe if the content interests you. And if not, I understand it's not for everybody. And that's okay too, because you can't make people do what you want them to do. Sure, I would love more young men to subscribe. Sure, I'd love my students that I teach every day to do certain things. Sure, I'd love $1 million right now and not have to go through the process. But that ain't how it works. Anyway, like I said, I've been on here way, way, way too long. Men, be productive. Stop worrying about what these women are doing. If they like you, they will go out of their way to make sure you know it. If you got a certain type of woman who's attracted to you, hey man, that's your lot in life. Unless you want to make your purpose a woman. But once you make your purpose a woman, she's going to find something else because you're going to bore her. Free game. For the little bit I do know or claim to know. Or maybe I don't know anything. Leave it in the comments if that's how you feel. And as always, never lose the will to win and never lose the will to survive.